And welcome everyone. I'll watch in the chat box for announcements and whatnot. But let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I will pull that up.
Thanks, Jessica.
Oh, that's
I
not
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
sorry about that.
Great. Allison Kelly, words of inspiration for us today.
Thank you. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Allison Kelly with Liberty House. If you could join me in an attitude of prayer. Eternal Creator, in you we live and move and have our being. Your love lives within us, and we see it in every act of kindness and goodness. Thank you for sustaining us with all that we need. You have blessed all of us with intellect and curiosity and the desire to learn. Help us to guide the new generations of learners. Help us to show steady, confident leadership through this season of stress and uncertainty. Help us to know how best to support families, students, and teachers. May this be a season not of fear, but of innovation, not of loss, but of gain, not of illness, but of renewal, not of despair, but of discovery. Move our hearts, inspire our minds, guide our steps, and bless the work of our hands. Amen.
Thank you, Allison. And Allison, we're going to move on to guests. And Allison, you have a guest with you here today.
I do. I'm happy to welcome my friend and colleague, Kelly Perosa, is on this call. Kelly serves as the Prevention Director for Liberty House. She heads up the Stewards of Children training, which many of your organizations have taken, and many of you have been involved in our I Respect and Protect campaign, which is making some really great progress. So welcome to Kelly.
Great, thank you. And then Laura, you have a guest with you as well.
I do. I would like to welcome Dr. Chad Towie. He is the new principal at North Salem High School, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of him as he brings his Students of the Month to the club once school gets going. So welcome, Chad.
Great, thank you. Welcome, Chad. We look forward to getting to know you better. On to visiting Rotarians. Martin has already introduced himself, but we have Martin Klein here from the Fairbanks, Alaska Sunrise Rotary Club. And he shared with us that he has daughters here in town, so we'll hopefully get to see Martin regularly as a guest of our club. So welcome, welcome, Martin. Thank you. We have several announcements. I'm going to hand it off to Justin Tyler to start.
Okie dokie. President Sue, fellow Rotarians, Justin Tyler here on behalf of the Hands-On Committee. We just wanted to let the group know that we are looking for volunteer functions for the upcoming year. So if you know somebody or are somebody that is in need, let Adam or I know, and we'll take a look at your project and we'll see if we can get you on the docket for the year. And that's all.
Great. Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
And then Lauren, you have some new member information.
I do. Hi, all. Lauren Gutierrez, membership chair. We were able to reschedule our late summer, early fall new member orientation. And it's very short notice, I know, but we did send out a survey last week and it seemed like quite a few people were available this coming Monday, August 31st at 1 p.m. Again, Monday, August 31st at 1 p.m. will be a new member orientation. A reminder, this is a requirement to get a blue badge, one of our must-do activities. It's 1 hour. We will never run over the hour. We know that we've got things to go back to, and it's virtual only. If you're a new member and you did not receive the email from me about this opportunity and you want to, please reach out. You can reach out in the chat or give me an email and let me know and I can send you the invite for it. So if you're a new member, please join us. And if you can't this time, don't fret because we have another one coming in a few months.
Great, thank you, Lauren. And then Jane Downing.
Thank you, Sue.
Jane Downing with the Center for Hope and Safety, and this year the Salem Rotary Foundation president. September is Salem Rotary Foundation month, and the Salem Rotary Foundation is the charitable heart of the club. And every year, nonprofits all over the community benefit from our foundation through selections through the Good Works Committee. There are 5 Wednesdays in September this year, and we will spend some time every week informing you about the work of the foundation and the good your donations do in the community. This year, several wonderful Rotarians have come together to match your bell ringers in September. Every time you ring the bell, your bell ringer will be matched, and matched again, and matched again. If we receive 12 bell ringers each week in September, we will bring in more than $10,000 to the Salem Rotary Foundation in 1 month. Because this is a lot of bell ringers every week, we are asking that you please submit your bell ringer in writing before the meeting, and please, please keep them brief. If you like, you can make a short 1-minute video ringing the bell and get it in before the meeting to the person handling bell ringers each Wednesday. The video can showcase whatever you would like. New grandbaby, let's see those cute cheeks. Have an anniversary, do a selfie toast on camera. Dog master a backflip, let's see it. The second way to participate is with your own pop-up match. If you want to celebrate with someone that their dog can do a backflip, or you want to honor a Rotarian you admire, type into the chat box you want to do a pop-up match and pay online for your bell ringer. We will make sure your pop-up match is listed in the e-blast along with the other bell ringers for the day. Be thinking now about the ways you can help us in the coming weeks to make this the best Rotary Foundation month ever. Thank you for all you do.
That's exciting. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. So speaking of bell ringers, I'll hand it off to Dale Penn.
Thank you very much, Sue. So hi, everyone. I only have 2 bell ringers today, so if you have any from the floor, please make sure that you get me those via email as soon as possible and put them in chat as well. So thank you. Just a reminder that folks are able to pay for their bell ringers on our website. So my first bell ringer is from myself. I would like to ring the bell in support of our 2020 bell ringer goal. The Bell Ringers Committee would ask that members consider donating all or a portion of the $14 lunch you have purchased at a live meeting towards bell ringers this week. You can champion a cause, celebrate a victory, applaud a colleague, all the good stuff, and help the club continue doing good things in the community. Please ring the bell. And number 2 is from Bruce Anderson. Bruce would like to ring the bell in support of the incredible news from earlier in the week declaring another significant Rotarian victory against polio. The WHO on August 25th announced that transmission of the wild polio virus has officially been stopped in all 47 countries of its African region. This is an achievement that all Rotarians contributed towards, all Rotarians should be proud of, and is an affirmation of everyone's support towards the goal of eradicating polio. Please ring the bell.
And then Dale, looks like several have popped up in the chat box.
So I'll read the one from Trisha. She has 4 bell ringers, but no mic or video today, no problem. Number 1, please ring the bell for the Community Action Arches has COVID rent relief funding for anyone who has been impacted financially by the pandemic. So please ring the bell. Number 2, Community Action Head Start is still accepting applications for both in-person and virtual pre-K services. Please ring the bell. Number 3, Community Action Home Youth Services is hosting a virtual awareness event this Saturday on August 29th. This event is being planned by youth with lived experience, and she is including a link there in the chat to sign up. Please do so. Please ring the bell. And number 4, Community Action is celebrating a new website. Please check it out. It's mycommunityaction.org. And she will, please ring the bell. And then Marilyn Schuster also would like to add on to Bruce Anderson's polio eradication in Africa bell ringer. Please ring the bell. That's all we've got. Thank you very much, Sue.
Oh, we have, it looks like, hold on. I think Roger, Barbie, and Deb are in there.
Yeah, this is Roger. I just wanted to add a short bell ringer to commend Sue Bloom and those who are making these Zoom meetings possible. I know it's very difficult, but it's keeping us all together. And I'd like to donate my August lunch money, which comes to, I think, $60.
Thank you, Roger.
Do I go?
Go for it, Barbie.
Okay, thanks. Barbie Dressler, still unemployed, still looking for work. Keep me in mind.
And then, did I see one more in there? Deb Patterson.
Yeah, I'd like to ring the bell. It's my anniversary today, and I'm going to hold up the picture of our wedding day. So, yay! My husband's going to take me out to lunch after Rotary. So, thanks everyone.
Well done. Did you see any more in there, Dale?
I am not seeing anyone.
I think that was it.
Yep.
So.
No raised hands.
Okay, terrific. Thanks everybody for your bell ringers. And we're excited about September and the matches and the pop-ups and the possibilities there. So thank you everybody. Next, we want to go to our membership moment. And this week, Mark Wolf is going to just chat with us a little bit about membership recruitment. So I'm going to hand it off to Mark. No interview for him. He's just going to let us share some stories and experience.
Thank you, Sue. I've unmuted myself this week, so I'm improving. I have a question for all Rotarians. Who would like to be happy? Who would like to live a long life? Would you believe that the two key things in happiness and longevity are friends and purpose? Friends and purpose. And what is Rotary? Really? What is Rotary for us? It's friends and purpose. Well, why, if Rotary will help us live a longer life and help us be happier while we're living that long life, it seems like we should have to bar the doors to keep people from crashing in on us. Yet we assume that no, that person wouldn't want to. Oh no, that person wouldn't want to. Why wouldn't we want to give the gift of Rotary to everyone we know that is a worthwhile person? It could be a friend, it could be a neighbor, it could be someone in a club, any organization, a church, synagogue, and anything that you belong to where you know people. If you like them, I mean, if you don't like them, don't invite them to Rotary. But if you like them, ask them, well, I guess first, before you ask them to come, you submit their name for approval in case somebody in the club has a problem. But that's not going to happen very often. It happens, but not often. Submit their name for approval and then ask them to come to Rotary. Tell them why you belong to Rotary. I joined Rotary to help my business. It didn't much, but it was an effort. And only after I was no longer in business did I become more involved in Rotary, and I contributed more and gained more. And then later on, a Rotary friend invited me or shared with me a great investment idea. So in the long run, over the decades, it paid off, but not for a long, long time. So think about people, businesses that you deal with, people that you see. don't assume that they wouldn't like Rotary. Submit their name. There are lots of people out there that would be better off if they were in Rotary, and Rotary would be better off if they were part of us. So think about people in your life and invite them to Rotary. Everyone wins.
Thank you, Mark. It's a great reminder that we have connections out there that we need to reach out to folks and engage them and have them be a part of our amazing club and the amazing people that are our membership. So thank you for sharing that, Mark.
You're welcome.
So now I'm going to turn the meeting over to Laura Tiffin, principal of South Salem High School, to introduce our program and some special guests. So Laura.
Great, thanks, Sue. And prior to introducing our guest speaker, I do want to welcome our corporate principal member and Salem-Keizer School District Superintendent, Christy Perry, who is here to support our guest speaker and also can field questions at the end. It is my honor to introduce to you one of Salem-Keizer's 2 assistant superintendents, Iton Udosenata. Iton joined Salem-Keizer School District's team on July 1st, and he has had to hit the ground running ever since then. He comes to us from the Eugene School District, where he served most recently as North Eugene High School's principal. Iton earned his Bachelor of Arts in Ethnic Studies from the University of Oregon, followed by his Master of Education in Education Leadership from the University of Oregon. In 2018, Iton earned his doctoral degree in Educational Methods Policy, again at the University of Oregon. He also this year is the president of the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators. Iton is a native Oregonian, but he began his teaching career in South Central Los Angeles in 2004. He returned to Oregon a couple years later when he served as a social studies teacher at Thurston High for 5 years. He entered the administrative world after that with positions including assistant principal at Willamette High School, principal at Cottage Grove High School, and most recently at North Eugene, where his passion and his leadership led to significant gains in their graduation rates. He is a self-proclaimed hip-hop historian and diehard Oregon Duck fan, which he should be given all the degrees that they bestowed upon him. We are excited to have his family in Salem, and even more excited to have his son actually join the South Salem Saxon family as a sophomore. As you all know, at Salem-Keizer students will be starting the school year in a virtual setting. Today, Iton will share with us the framework of our comprehensive distance learning plan, as well as the process for re-entry. He'll also speak to how we as a community can support this new teaching and learning experience, especially given the social and emotional challenges of virtual learning. If there's time, he and Christy are both happy to provide updates on our bond projects going on throughout the district as well. So please join me in welcoming Iton. Iton, you might be muted.
Can everyone hear me fine?
Yep.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Thank you for that excellent introduction, Principal Tiffin. We are excited for Kellen, my 14-year-old, to join South Salem. I know that the workouts right now are kicking his butt. So
excellent.
Cross country.
That's a good start.
Yes. So we're excited to be here. And also, before I start, I just wanted to thank Mark for his comments. I really like that message around friends and purpose, and I think it's something that helps to ground us in it. And I also, it gave me something to think about in a short amount of time, and it's something that it's a message I think we all need to hear. So thanks for sharing that as well. About 2 weeks ago, Sue Bloom emailed me and said, "Hey, would you like to speak to Rotary?" And my initial response was will I? Whenever I think of Rotary, I think of a couple of things. One, a positive group, and then two, this is really selfish, a free lunch or breakfast. And then I realized it was going to be online. So I am virtually eating my baked chicken right now with some green beans with you all. But no, thank you so much for inviting me. I always appreciate having the opportunity to speak with Rotary. The Rotary has done so much in education in every district that I've been part of, whether it's being part of important community events, inviting students so that they can be recognized for all the great things they do, or all the scholarship work that you do for students as well. So thank you for inviting me and making me feel welcome. Here's the other thing that Sue shared with me. She said, you got about a half hour, and we want you to talk to this group about the details related to school reentry, and you got about a half hour, and that most of the time we want to be for Q&A. And so I said challenge accepted, and it will be a challenge because I am a formal social studies teacher, and as you all know, we have a hard time with not being long-winded. So I will try to be very concise with my presentation so that you all have an opportunity to, one, feel like you're really informed on how we're approaching our re-entry with schools opening in the fall, but also so that if there's any clarification or questions that you have, we get those answered. And I also want to say thank you to Superintendent Perry for being available to answer questions. And we hope that if we do get through this presentation and questions, that we can show you some of the exciting things going on with the bond. So I'm going to go ahead and take control of the screen, and then I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation with you all. Okay, I think we are almost there. I'm having trouble getting the actual presentation on my screen. And there we go. Excellent, thank you. So what we want to do is talk to you about our models for reentry. And then we want to discuss some of the drivers that are shaping the different models that we have. And when I say models, I mean the various plans for reentry and learning environments that students might be part of. So we want to speak with you about that, and then discuss the drivers, which are the stages, and then also talk about the metrics that we're using, the guidelines that we're using from both the state, Oregon Department of Education, and our local health authorities to inform us in our planning as we plan and frame the reopening of schools. So there'll be some details, but I'll try to talk to you about this as clearly as possible so that you feel like you have a good grasp of what's going on. So first, let's talk about the different learning or educational options that our students have as we prepare to reopen school in COVID. So we understand that the reopening of schools might be unpredictable in terms of when we'll be able to bring kids back to what we traditionally call like the normal world, right? And so we don't know when things will go back to normal. So what we did is our district did a phenomenal job, all leaders in our district, principals, teachers, of giving us input and helping to design a couple of models that give families options no matter what the future holds when it comes to having to be perhaps in quarantine or distance learning or going back to normal. And so we have two different models that we'll talk about today, and then I'll talk about how we can arrive at these models and how we'll put them into play. The first is the blended model, right? And we're referring to this as the blended, where schools, where we'll have to, we have an opportunity to open schools and have students attend probably every other day. And we're following something called a Ready Schools Safe Learners guideline provided to us by the Oregon Department of Education. So there's a lot of parameters on this, but for the most part, what will happen is students will do some of their learning at school, at home, and some of their learning at school when we are able to bring students back to school. But at times when maybe there's a spike in COVID and we aren't able to bring students back to school, our teachers are fully prepared to use learning management systems online for something that we call comprehensive distance learning, where students will attend classes, do homework, interact with their teachers and classmates from home on a structured school schedule. So if there's a spike in COVID and we need to stay home, we'll go comprehensive distance learning, and that's how we're going to start the school year. And then when things get a little bit better and we can reintroduce students back to school, we'll go into a blended A-day, B-day model. And I'll come back to this in a moment. And then there's families that for one reason or another, perhaps maybe they want to have some predictability around where their child will be, or they're not quite ready to bring their kids back to school yet because of the conditions related to COVID-19, that they have a fixed online model. It's called Edge Online Program. And this is different than other online programs, as it's supposed to, we know that it will be robust, it will be interactive, and students will be part of an online learning community. But being part of the online community also means that they're still going to have some point of connection to their neighborhood school. So with all these models, what's important to us is this idea of care and connection, that a kid feels like they have a sense of belonging, that they're able to learn, and that they're part of a school community. And so right now, as it stands, we have a lot of students enrolling in EDGE. We have roughly 43,000 students in Salem-Keizer schools. And of those, I think we have around 5,500 to 6,000 that have shared some interest in enrolling in EDGE. And we'll see how that shakes out once we have certainty on what this, what the metrics will look like related to opening schools when September rolls around. So let me talk about some of these stages and metrics just to help shape your understanding about what reentry looks like. So as you can see right here on the left hand, there's a little metric on the bottom left hand side, and there's the red icon with the house and the laptop computer only that has a 1 and 2. The 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are phases or stages of reentry for us. And so stage 1 and 2 means, and that's the red, means students will be engaging in comprehensive distance learning. You see on stage 3 and 4, that's when we go into that blended model. And in the blended model, students would be going to school every other day in cohorts, or most likely every other day in cohorts. And then down here on stage 5, that's when students will be going to school back to normal, business as usual, right? So, and on the bottom right-hand side right here, where it says decision-making criteria, that's how we decide what stage we're gonna be in. I'm gonna go over all these stages real quickly. So stage 1 means we're staying home because the governor ordered that we stayed home. That's what it looked like in March of March of last year, or this year, when we went into COVID. And we decided to stay home and not bring students back to school for the remainder of the year. Stage 2 is how we anticipate opening the year. And this when all students participate in distance learning at home. There'll be some limited small group or in-school supports that could be offered. Teachers and staff have access to buildings following physical distancing guidelines and coordinated by the on-site physical distancing coordinator. So here's the decision criteria. First, there's a county metric, and this is when if we have more than 30 cases per 100,000 in the preceding days. There's a county positivity rate, where if more than 5% of those tested are positive in the preceding 7 days. And then there's a state metric of more than 5% of tests are positive in the preceding 7 days. And so that's the metric for us to stay in comprehensive distance learning. Now, the metric for us to go into a blended model, and the blended model, what will happen is we'll bring in grades K through 3, and they'll attend school in a blended model, perhaps in cohorts, Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. There'll be some limited small groups and in-school supports that may be offered. And then all other students will participate in comprehensive distance learning. Staff can be on site for planning and delivering instruction as well. So here's the decision-making criteria for that. And also I want to mention on the blended model, that's when students could be in a Tuesday, Thursday cohort for middle school and high school, or a Wednesday, Thursday cohort where they would come to school in small cohorts every other day, depending on what cohort they're in. And then on the days that they're not in school, they would engage in learning and studying from home as prescribed by their teacher and their schedule. So the decision making for that is there's no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in school staff or students for 14 days. The county case rates are between 10 and 30 cases per 100,000 for the last 3 weeks. And the county test positivity is less than 5% of tests are positive for the last 3 weeks. So we're stage 4, that's the blended learning model. All students participate with on-site instruction for at least 2 days a week. So that's that cohort for Tuesday and Thursday. And I apologize for the confusion, that's for stage 4, is when we have that cohort of Tuesday and Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. And some students may receive additional supports on Mondays. Staff can be on site for planning and delivering instruction. And the decision criteria for this is if there's less than 10 cases per 100,000 for the last 3 weeks, and the county test positivity is less than 5% of students are positive for the last, less than 5% of tests are positive for the last 3 weeks. For the state positivity, it needs to again be less than 5% of statewide are positive in the last 3 weeks. And for the 5th stage, that means all students are participating on site. We're all clear 5 days a week. And this resumes if under the guidance from Oregon Health Authority and the Department of Education. And those are the groups that we've been working primarily with. So just in terms of where we are today, well, as of August 16th, this is what it looks like. So remember, if we go back, that test positive or the confirmed cases need to, for us to be in blended learning need to be between 10 and 30,000. And as of August 13th in Marion County, we're at 87.99 cases per 100,000. So we're well above what that rate should be to start bringing kids in as much as we'd like to. And then also the test positivity is at 11%. And remember, we want to keep that under 5%. And so we have some work to do in terms of flattening the curve and getting these numbers to go down before we can start bringing kids back in. And so that's why we're confident that we're going to be beginning the year in CDL. And so again, with those metrics in mind, we've been sharing this with families during questions and answering sessions on an online format. We had multiple of these, and we've also been working closely with our teachers and building administrators to get input and make sure everybody understands what their options are and the rationale behind these models. And so some families are choosing to go into EDGE for the year, and we're excited about what that might look like after we have reopened schools, because this shouldn't be a temporary program. We really want there to be some online options for students who have circumstances that prevent them from going to school full time. And then otherwise, we have already opened the school in CDL, and then we will have go into blended when we get the opportunity to do that based on the metrics communicated by the Oregon Department of Education and the Health Authority. So this is what a school day might look like for an elementary student opening and going to school when the school starts, right? So they will have chunks of instruction. You can see right here it says 1 to 1.5 hours a day. So the
Anyways, we're gonna go pick some apples and stuff. So I just wanted somebody who's not in training all day to know that's where we're at.
I think someone's unmuted, and I'll continue with this. And Sue, feel free to interrupt me if it's a distraction. They'll do 15 to 20-minute lessons on social emotional learning, reading and writing, English development, math. And we have this 4 days a week, Monday being a student support day, where we have our kids targeted instruction. Guidance on emphasizing the importance of PE and music and extensions, and we do a lot of outreach. You also see right here, there's time built into the teachers' days for care and connection, checking with families. So that's what it looks like. The middle school and there's a cohort right here. So for the cohort, you're on a structured 1 through 5 period day. And right here we have lunch breaks built in, and they're long enough so that if students need to go to school to get lunch, they can, because there'll be meal services provided at school. That they're when we distance. Again, Monday is a student support day with office hours, targeted supports and extensions, family outreach. And we begin each day with an advisory or homeroom with the emphasis on connecting kids and helping them navigate the world of how we're going to learn this school year. Then Friday, you can see right here, on the days you can see that there's days for individual assignments that are own. The next school is the same. The only thing is that middle school class periods are going to be a little bit shorter, around 60 minutes period. All the high school with the advisory factor, and this is a 90-minute period for the high school. Again, Monday's student support day with this care connection through advisory and office hours. So I know that was could have potentially been like drinking out of a fire hose, but I wanted to know, and Sue, you'll have to help me navigate this because yes. I can't see, but let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, folks want to, in the participant box, raise their hands or give me something in the chat. We'll get rolling with questions.
And Dawn, you were breaking up just a little bit. So if you start breaking up, I'll jump in and answer.
Great.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you, Christy. Iton, could you talk a little bit about, there was interest as we were chatting about this program in our program committee about how parents, grandparents, caregivers can help support the social emotional component of comprehensive distance learning. What can we do to be helpful if we're supporting kids that are working virtually?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to stay connected to what the schools are doing. And we have a communications team that has been working pretty hard to update our websites and provide communication on what to anticipate and what to expect. If you're on email, watch your emails from your building so that you can anticipate how to support students and what resources are available as well. And then also we are going to launch a program. Right now it's not the right, we want to work on the title, but it's almost like a parent or a trusted adult or community academy, like a parent academy, where there'll be opportunities for parents to engage, learn about resources available to them, get training on what our learning management systems look like. And so we're using something called Canvas, which is like this online module for how students will access their schoolwork and their assignments and interface with their teachers. And so parents are going to want tutoring on this. Additionally, It's fun. I have to interrupt myself, and I knew this would happen. I'm working from home, and I have kids, and my kids left the door open, and I think a concerned neighbor is about to walk into my house and see if my door is open. Hi, thank you. No, I'm sorry. Would you mind closing that for me? Oh, I appreciate it. I'm in a meeting, and yeah, thank you. Sorry, the quirks of working at home. I apologize about that. So nonetheless, there will be a parent academy or some resources that will help connect students. But I think keeping people informed and keeping families informed is what's most important. Superintendent Perry, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, my only suggestion on social emotional learning is if you have the ability to interact socially with kids, and you can, I think that's what our kids need the most. They need care and connection. So anything you can do, and if you can't do it in person, you can always do it virtually. Our kids are getting better and better about virtual learning. So that would be my best advice. If you also could help any family you know with their structure around comprehensive distance learning. We know it's really hard for our families to engage in all of this while also trying to do their jobs and all of that. So any support you can give any family or a setup of mentoring of kids would be helpful.
And to add to that, I think just giving feedback is important as well. So if there's things that are working, we want to know about it. And if there's things that aren't working or that need our attention, we really need to know about it in the moment. So having that constant two-way feedback loop is the way that will help us improve the experience for our students.
Great, thank you. Warren, you had a question?
It's Linda. We're on the same Zoom. So, just two things. I'm just curious about the effect of some of this plan, because I assume there's going to be some effort for social distancing and stuff like that, even if they do get into the classroom. One of the things, of course, that Salem-Keizer is very well known for is their music programs. And just kind of curious the impact and what the plans are for things like music, drama, some of those auxiliary things like that. And then the second thing I have is just, I'm aware that there's a cohort of people working on after school programming. Sue's very familiar with this, Salem Leadership Foundation, with getting churches involved in providing places that maybe there can be pods of tutoring and things like that. So that's just a side comment. Anyway, the music stuff, I'm just curious where that's gonna go.
Superintendent Perry, would you like to field this one?
Oh, look at that handoff right there. That's So music, career technical ed, all of the theaters, arts, all those hands-on programs especially are trickiest in comprehensive distance learning. So but our music teachers are set up to be comprehensive distance learning teachers, which doesn't look the same as how we have kids back in classrooms. And in our taking care of business days in the next 3 weeks, we're going to make sure that we have they have access to their instruments and things. When we come into the blended learning model, that's going to be an even trickier space for especially like choirs, where there's some research out there about the spread of COVID, but we will have to really stay in those really small cohorts. So one of the things we're doing is trying to structure our music classes a little differently, where we had all these very different levels of music classrooms, different orchestra level. We're trying to get them a little more systematized into one level, even though we have varieties of levels within, so that when we come back, we have the absolute most opportunity to get kids to come back in person, because we know that the cohorting is going to be essential, and how you cohort a 2,000 student school, you can ask Principal Tiffin, is the hardest thing she's ever tried to do. So we're trying to allow as much access, and then when we cohort, their ability to get them in. CTE was called out specifically in the guidance from ODE as one of those specialized areas where you could get some targeted groups in. So as the metrics begin to improve, we will be able to do some of that small group one-on-one instruction that's really important for our for some of those specialized classes. So not the answer probably everyone is looking for, like, is when can we do in-person music instruction? But we're also set up with the Music Lessons Project out of that Sandy Wiscarson is doing with Dick With Now. So we do have some private tutoring still for some of our kids in the North and McKay feeder area. And that's gonna be really essential from an equity perspective. If there's a place to give, if you're interested in music, the Music Lessons Project is one of those, because our goal is to come out on the other side of this with still premier music programs and still having kids gain skill and access. Same with career technical ed, all those specialized programs. Sorry, that was a long answer.
That was great. Thank you. I'm going to go to Ron Kellerman next, and then Bruce Anderson, I can ask your question. So Ron?
Yes, I'd like to know if every student at all grade levels has the appropriate hardware and an internet connection.
So that seems like an easy one for me to field, Superintendent. So yes, we in the spring we did Chromebook distribution. There, for those of you that are not familiar, a Chromebook is like a computer or laptop that only receives that works off of internet access instead of being a computer that has a hard drive that stores information. And that's all of our students will need access to, is a Chromebook, because all of our work is supported online through Canvas or Seesaw, which will be the two learning management systems. And a lot of our curriculum will be online as well. And for students who need internet access and don't have it, we have what they call hotspots, and those are devices that allow our students to connect to the internet. And so we've distributed tens of thousands of those in the spring, and we're going to have a Taking Care of Business Day where we do a distribution of Chromebooks again for families that need them.
Thank you.
And the only addition I'll add is Comcast has been really a great partner, and they've got the Internet Essentials program that they have rolled out for our families across more than just Salem-Keizer. And we have extended our contract with the Comcast around internet access, and I think until August of 2021.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So we have lots of questions in the chat. Iton, if you'd prefer, I read them to you or you hop into the chat. One question is, did I understand it correctly that the district is prepared to call the children for in-person learning with 3-week warning if we meet the infection rate requirements?
Yeah, let me answer that one. I'm going to also answer the one on the governor, and I'm going to set up, I'm wondering if Principal Tiffin might answer the APIB one, because that would be a really clear example. If not, I can answer it for you. But right now we have said we're going to be in comprehensive distance learning until the November 12th, the end of the first 9 weeks. In part because we can see the metrics and we see how long it's going to be to get the metrics down. So we've made that call for K through 10, and then our 11th and 12th graders, we've called it for the semester, in part because 11th and 12th graders, if we mix them into the cohorts with 9th and 10th graders, it reduces their options to take some of those advanced placement classes. So that was a strategic decision around trying to get kids with as many options as possible. I'm hoping that Principal Tiffin's going to say that's playing out in their schedule, which she's still in the middle of doing. And so, but as the metrics get better, then we can bring in small groups and we can begin to also test out all of our safety protocols, our busing protocols, because even our busing has to be cohorted. So that's why we've made that call, and because we also saw where the metrics were headed. Marion County did another slight bump up again this last week, and that's what we're really watching. The other thing is, I think there's a question about the governors getting the case rates down to 60 per 100,000. I didn't pay that close attention to what her metrics were saying, because what I know is the guidance from ODE is we cannot move to that blended learning until we have a 5% positivity rating or positivity testing at the county and at the state, and under 10 per 100,000 at the county for 3 weeks in a row. I think our bump up in Marion County was at 11% positivity rating. So that's what will get us to the blended learning.
And I think that question also began to answer the question about AP and IB, and if we're going to be offering those, and maybe Principal Tiffin would like to mention that or give good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, the only way that we could have continued with our students on the IB diploma track was to have them take the classes online. With all of the cohorting guidelines or requirements, we could not have scheduled our students in all of the what we call singletons, or all of the classes where we only offer one period. So many of our students take classes like IB Visual Arts or IB Environmental or IB Chemistry, where we don't offer very many periods. And then that would really make it difficult, if not impossible, to follow the cohorting requirements. So, so our IB students will still be able to receive the IB diploma. We're working with the IB organization to get an exemption to their rules so that they will allow us to have this 4x4 schedule where students take 4 classes at a time. So they'll take four of their IB classes in the first 2 quarters, and then their other 3 IB classes plus an elective, most likely health and PE, in the 3rd and 4th quarters of the year. And ideally, we'll be back in person for those 3rd and 4th quarters.
Great. There's to that, Laura, there's another question about things like DECA, leadership programs like DECA, and what those are going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. We are really fortunate to have amazing student leaders who are probably better at technology than we are, right? So, and we also have a phenomenal teacher who advises them. So we're taking DECA completely online. Most likely the DECA competition will also have to be online this year. So we would like for their practices to be online to prepare them for the competition. We're also looking at taking our speech and debate club completely online. So we are making those adjustments because, as we all know, keeping our students connected right now is going to be very important, and we'd like to actually try to have them even more connected to school than before. So we're trying to take all of our clubs, all of our activities, everything we can online.
Great, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I think we've, oh, Barry Nelson has a bell ringer for Christy, so we'll let you do that, Barry. We have about 4 or 5 minutes left. So Barry, if you want to
provide. I'll stretch. I'll make it 4.
Oh, that's not what I meant.
Iton and Laura, so I'll match it, whatever you do. So go.
All right. Well, I'm in for $2,000 for or not. But thank you, Iton and Principal Laura, for your continuing guidance for our kids. But with Christy on the call today, I wanted to take the opportunity to say to her face that I can't imagine the stress you must have experienced adapting tremendously quickly to distance learning. And if I were in your shoes, I probably would have crawled into a hole. But I also can't think of anyone who could have met that challenge with the grace and forward-moving outlook that you've managed. To me, we have had the opportunity to witness and continue to witness a true definition of leadership. And you'll probably deflect praise to those around you. But for now, Christy, thank you for what you do and for your leadership. Ring the bell.
There we go.
And Barry, I just want to second that. As being somebody new to the district and having worked around a lot of really great leaders, Christy has just done a remarkable job. And while there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to this process, she's always made it a priority that we stick together on this. And so I give it kudos as well.
Great. Thank you all so much. We got this awesome tag team today. So thank you, Iton, Superintendent Perry. I'll call you Principal Tiffin. It's hard for me to say that, but not call you by your first name, but really, truly very, very helpful and informative to us. And I will echo what Barry said. You all have been so communicative so for my organization, everyone at the district has been so communicative to help me understand how we can move forward to serve the kids and all the different angles and the moving targets that we've all been dealing with during this. And I just truly appreciate your leadership and partnership. I think is the most important thing, is that really is a great partnership. So I'm very grateful for you all.
So somebody asked in the chat if they could have the slides. So we'll send the slides to you.
Yep.
We've got to take the bond ones off the bottom. And please invite us back. You really need to hear the good news about our bond projects. So when you're ready for that, we'll be back.
Okay, awesome. We'll get that on the program calendar right away. Thank you. So thanks everybody for a really great conversation with our district leadership. Next week, Ken Van Osdale is our program chair, and Gwen Carr will be with us to discuss systemic racism and taking a look at how that exists in our community. So looking forward to that presentation and conversation with Gwen, who's been a leader in our community for many, many years. So with that, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day and week, and take care, and we will see you all soon. Bye, everybody.